Welcome back to the Nerf Report. We have a fantastic show lined up for you this week. We finally got a release date for Immortals Fenyx Rising upcoming DLC Eastern Realms. Roblox went public and broke the internet's mind and, well, our wallets. We need to talk about the games that released this week. And finally, there is a brand new game coming to Google Stadia, and it looks awesome. All of this and much, much more for this week's episode of the Nerf Report.
Are you listening?
Welcome back to the Nerf Report. My name is Bryant, and what a crazy week it has been for gamers. Xbox announced that the acquisition of ZeniMax Media is now complete, and Obsidian Entertainment dropped a brand new trailer for the upcoming Outer Worlds DLC, Murder on Rhydanos. And on top of that, a ton of video games released this week. So let's talk about the games that released this week in a reoccurring segment that we like to call Games You May Have Missed. First up, let's talk about Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game 4, which includes a brand new career mode with a whole new skill tree, along with a new track editor with new forms of customization, and a brand new compound, which includes new challenges, 5 additional tracks, free roaming, and collectibles to unlock additional gear. Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game 4, is available right now for PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Google Stadia. Up next, let's talk about Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Neo Cortex and Dr. Entropy have escaped their interdimensional prison, and Crash and Coco must team up to take them down. Crash Bandicoot 4 brings updated platforming mechanics while staying loyal to the original game. Now, of course, Crash Bandicoot It's About Time originally launched for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but this week the game released a next-gen upgrade for players on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles. Plus, the game officially released for the Nintendo Switch. And speaking of the Nintendo Switch, Apex Legends finally released for the Nintendo Switch this week. What might be my favorite Battle Royale game, Apex Legends will drop you and 2 other players into a battlefield filled with powerful legends who each bring their own skills and ultimates to the battlefield. Defeat all the remaining teams to be the last one standing, as Apex Legends is out right now for the Nintendo Switch for free. And finally, let's talk about Cyanide and Happiness Freakpocalypse. This brand new point-and-click adventure game is a must-play for any fan of Cyanide and Happiness. Freakpocalypse is filled with dark humor, drama, and plenty of over-the-top weirdness. Cyanide and Happiness Freakpocalypse is available right now for PC and the Nintendo Switch. And clearly, a ton of games were released this week, and this is just a small sampling of the games that came out. Did we miss anything important? Make sure to let us know what you've been playing in the comment section down below. Next up, let's talk about Immortals Fenyx Rising, which might be one of the best games from 2020. I mean, I genuinely loved this game. It was like the ultimate blend of Zelda and Assassin's Creed with great controls. And honestly, the game's story might have been one of the best parts because it was just so over the top and extremely funny. And if you are a fan of the game as much as I am, then get hyped, because a brand new DLC expansion for Immortals Fenyx Rising is incoming. This week, Ubisoft announced the expansion of Immortals Fenyx Rising, the Myths of the Eastern Realm. Eastern Realms will bring a brand new open world, characters, and stories inspired by Chinese mythology. And as far as our hero goes, gamers will get to play as Ku as they explore the Eastern Realm. The Myths of the Eastern Realms is the second DLC expansion for Immortals Fenyx Rising, and it will be launching on March 25th. Now, probably one of the biggest stories of this week was Roblox going public. I mean, I would imagine that once parents heard this story, they probably responded by saying, wait, the game that my kid plays on their cell phone went for how much? And if you were unaware, the Roblox company went public this week at an opening value of $69.50 per share, giving the company an overall valuation of $45 billion. I'm sorry, what? We've been so distracted by GameStop that Roblox has been in front of us the whole time, people! Now, the evaluation of the Roblox company solidifies the company's position in the upper echelon of video games. In fact, if we were to compare Roblox's valuation of $45 billion, it's higher than Ubisoft, who has a $9.58 billion valuation, Take-Two, who has a $19.43 billion valuation, and EA, who is currently valued at $38.09 billion. So, to all my teachers who said there's no money to be made in video games, joke's on you. Well, I mean, other people are making money with video games. I'm definitely not making any. And finally, for this week's show, story time. This weekend, while exploring YouTube, I ran across the trailer for a brand new game that is coming soon.
You know what your problem is? You think you're entitled to victory and glory, that you can always win. That will be your downfall. Threta Revelations.
Which, surface level, this game looks awesome. But it wasn't the trailer that did it for me, it was the ending of the video, which had something that I did not expect. Now, obviously, Stadia has already launched 100 games, and Threta is nowhere to be seen. But seeing that we all kind of just hit the reset button on 2020, I forgive the developer for the game not releasing, but mainly because this game just looks so freaking awesome. Threta Revelations is a brand new game from developer Prodigi Interactive, in what the developer describes as the Asian equivalent of God of War. Threda will be a narrative-driven fantasy adventure game which involves the mythical and historical characters of Sri Lanka. Okay, quick question. Threda, is that 2 T's or 3? And also, how many zeros do you want in this check? Because I'm willing to pay a lot of money just to get to play this game. And if that doesn't sound awesome enough, in an interview at Google I/O in 2019, the developer mentioned that their main aim is to show the world how rich the Sri Lankan history and culture is. To achieve this, they also decided to create their own combat system, which is based on Angampora, the Sri Lankan ancient martial arts style that originated in Sri Lanka. In fact, developer Prodigi will be the first developer to import Angampora combat systems into the Unreal Engine. Now, as far as when in history this game will take place, the dev team confirmed in an interview with the Sunday Times that the game will be based in the ancient times of Sri Lanka, with the team focusing on giving gamers the chance to experience the true beauty of Sri Lanka. And probably the thing that blew me away the most about this game is that in order to stay authentic, the developer created a specific language just for the game. That's right. Threda will have its own ancient language, because during development they noticed how much Sinhalese and English didn't match with the context of the game. So the developer created the Hela alphabet, which takes inspiration from ancient languages like Pali, along with the alphabets of Tamil, Thai, and Burmese cultures. So not only is the developer creating a brand new game, they literally invented a brand new language to make this game feel more real. That is a crazy level of detail for for a game that I haven't seen since J.R.R. Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings. And as far as the game's story goes, well, the game's story director has confirmed that the game definitely has inspiration from larger-than-life narratives like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings. Threda will also take Sri Lanka's history and expand it with elements of fantasy to create a bigger universe filled with additional characters and story, creating an interconnected universe like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And for Threta Revelations alone, the developer is currently planning on creating 180 characters, with 20 to 30 of them being main characters. Now, as I mentioned, Threda was announced as coming to Google Stadia, but the game is also listed for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Oculus, and the HTC Vive. And personally, I'm blown away by the idea of this game, and I can't wait to see more. Now, it should be noted that for the most part, the developer team has gone radio silent with Twitter and YouTube, but the company seems to be very active on Facebook and Instagram. So if you're wanting to see more about this game, head on over to their Facebook and the Instagram. I've put links to those pages in the description of this video. In fact, I am so hyped for this game that the moment I started doing research, I immediately reached out to the developer on Facebook and I begged them to come on the show to talk more about this game. And I haven't heard back from them, but by chance that the team behind Threta is watching this video, please take this as a formal request. I would love to have you on the Nerf Report to talk more about this game. I think that you are onto something extremely special. I think the fact that it's the first AAA game to come out of Sri Lanka is awesome. The idea that it's going to be talking about Sri Lanka history, which as an American I know nothing about, is super cool. And I speak on behalf of myself, the audience, everybody that works on the show. We would love to hear more about your game. And that is going to wrap up this week's episode of the Nerf Report. Thank you again so much for joining us this week. And a special thank you to all of the Nerf Report best friends who make content just like this possible. Until next time, my name is Bryant Chappelle, and this has been the Nerf Report. Hey, thanks again for checking out our channel. If you like what you saw and you want to see more content just like it, which who wouldn't, hit the subscribe button right there. And while you're down there, hit the like button. Maybe even consider becoming a Nerf Report best friend, just like the people listed down below did. In fact, don't you want to see your name there? I know I do.